on. G. Using the energy balance equation for a closed system, okay, and that is this fella here. Calculate Q12, work 12. Oh, sorry. So the heat, pretty much the heat going from every state and the work for every change in state that we did. So let's do it little by little. So first, Q from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, we have an isotherm, right? So yeah, isotherm. And because this is because it's an isotherm, because delta T is 0 from 1 to 2, and it's an ideal gas, then our delta U equals 0, right? And that happens because, if you recall, CV equals du dt, and then if it's an ideal gas, and RCP, we're considering that constant, so that's going to be CV delta T equals delta U. Our delta T is 0, so delta U is 0, right? So delta U is 0. And if delta U is 0, then from this guy here, if delta U is 0, then work from 1, 2 has to be equal to Q from 1, 2. Okay, so if we find the work from 1, 2, that's going to give us our heat. So we can do that, work from 1, 2. Work from 1 to 2. We're integrating. Work is always the same thing, PdV, right? In this case, it's an isotherm, so we know that we can, if we sub in, where we have pressure, if we sub in P equals mRT divided by volume, we're going to end up with mRT divided by volume dV. This guy here is a constant, mass R and T, so they come out with the integral, so we'll have mRT of V, so that is just mRT natural log of V2 to V1. We want the answers in, it was specified that we want that in per kilograms, right, per mass, per unit of mass. And right now we're getting as just units of energy. So what I can do is, from this relationship, I can say that work from 1 to 2 divided by the mass, so just dividing both sides by mass, will just be RT natural log of V2 V1. Okay, if you recall V2 V1, V2 is just double V1. Okay, so this is pretty much just 0.287. Temperature is 720, that's the isotherm. And we're just taking the natural log of 2. That gave me 143.23. 143.23, and that is kilojoules per kilogram, but we can check to be sure. Okay, we're doing this kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin and multiplying by this, which is in Kelvin, kilojoules per kilogram. Okay, there's no units obviously in the natural log. Cool. So that does it for Q12 and work 12. Next one. So next one is Q2 to 3. Q2 to 3, that's this guy here. I don't remember this process anymore. That's the isentropic one. The isentropic. Where's our drawing? There you go. 2 to 3, we have isentropic, adiabatic, so that's very, very easy for us to relate heat. So we just need to relate the expansion to work, right, from 2 to 3. So 0 or nil, because adiabatic. Cool. Now for work from 2 to 3, we're integrating again, same thing as usual. But because this is the isentropic one, we know PV to the K is a constant, right? Constant. I'll just leave it as C. So then, and so therefore, I can sub in constant dV over V to the K. Constant comes out of the integral, so we have constant of dV Vk, and this constant is PV, right? So PVK. And then over here, we're going to have V1 plus a minus K of 1 minus K from state 2 to state 3. So therefore, my work from 2 to 3 will just be P2V2 to the K minus P1V1 to the K divided by 1 over K, or minus K, sorry. And we have all the information. Note that we can, like if we do this, right, volume-wise, we're going to get answer in kilojoules, but we can sub that in for, meters cubed per kilogram, so we can get the answer in kilojoules per kilogram as we're looking for. We have all the data, I think. Yeah, we got all the pressures and volume, so that's all good. So pressure, oh, sorry, it's not 1, 2, this is, we're going from 2 to 3, so 3, 3, 2, 2. Oh, so pressure 3, 163.43, specific volume 3.527, pressure 2, 3,500, and this guy is 0.0509, no, sorry, 5904. K is 1.4, so this is just going to be 1 minus 1.4, so just negative 0.4. And this gives me a number of approximately 301.3. Okay, and that's kilojoules per kilograms, because we're multiplying meters cubed per kilogram by kilopascals, which is the same thing as kilojoules per kilograms. Great. Next up, from 3 to 4. So Q from 3 to 4. And now things start to repeat, right? Because it's quite a symmetrical thing we're doing here. So from 3 to 4, again, it's an isotherm, right? Because it's an isotherm transformation, then we know delta U will be 0 because it's an ideal gas. Delta U being 0, then that means that the work is equal to the heat. So just like before. Okay, so not 0, sorry. 3 to 4 is equal to the heat. Work equal to the heat. So now we want to find this. It's an isotherm, so the same thing as before. We don't have to do the whole integral again because we know this is just mRT, natural log of V4 final state, V3 initial state. So therefore, my work 3.4 divided by my mass will just be 2.87 times my temperature, 300 Kelvin, and then just the specific volume, which I forgot, 263 divided by 527. Okay, know that we're compressing this guy here, so we need to give energy to the system. That's why the negative shows up, right? We need to give energy to this gas to be able to compress it. Air in this case, we need to give energy to air to be able to compress it. So this is kilojoules per kilograms. Cool. So that's why the negative shows up, as we expect. So that's also the amount of heat in this process. And then finally, we're going back to from 4 to 1. So 4 to 1 is adiabatic, so this is nil because adiabatic. And then again, from 4 to 1, we want to do the same thing we did before, right? So P1, V1 final state minus initial state, P4, V4 divided by 1 minus K. P1 is 7,000. V1 is 0.02, where's our table? 0.295 minus P4, pressure 326.9. It was 0.97, 96, and the volume is 263. Cool beans. And then divided by 1 minus 1.4, so just negative 1.4. And again, we should expect the speed to be negative, and indeed it is, negative 301.66 kilojoules per kilograms. Let me just double check I put all the correct values. Yep. Okay, cool. So that does it for this one. That asks us for all the heats and all the work. H. Calculate the thermal efficiency of the Carnot cycle by employing both definitions of the efficiency. So we want to relate the efficiency with how much Q is being outputted by the system, how much energy we're inputting to the system in the form of heat, and also relating with our lower reservoir and hotter reservoir and colder reservoir, right? So they should render the same efficiency unless there's some approximation thing going on. So 1 minus Q out. What is Q out? Remember what's Q out? Let's go back to this drawing here, which is I think is the most useful. Q out is happening over here, and it's happening from 3 to 4. That's why it's the heat rejection phase, right? Heat rejection transformation. And Q in is happening from 1 to 2, and it's the heat addition transformation. So we can go and put those values in. From Q out, that's from 2 to 3. Where's the Q out from 2 to 3? 2 to 3, this is the 1. Sorry, not 2 to 3. Is that right? 2 to 3? No, sorry, my bad. From 3 to 4. Sorry. 3 to 4 over here. Q is this month, so 59.84 of energy is going away. So 59.84 is going away. And Q in, that's from 1 to 2, and that's equal to work, that's 143.23. And that renders 0.58 something, so let's just approximate that to the percentage. 58.2%. And if you do the other definition, because we know that the limiting factor on these guys is, in fact, the reservoir, our lower temperature is 300. That's our lower reservoir. And then our hotter one is 700 kelvins, right? So Kelvin, Kelvin, they go away. And this is about 0.5833, so 58.3. So indeed, same value, except there's an approximation. There's a little plus or minus 0.1 error there, 0.1% error because of the approximations that we did along the way. Okay, so that's the thermal efficiency of this Carnot cycle, 58.3%. Last part of the question. Calculate the change in specific entropy for each process. So from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, and 4 to 1. Okay, this is very straightforward because there are two of them that are isentropics, right? Which are the, I keep mistaking the numbers on this, so let's just make sure that we're doing this correctly. Okay, so we know that this guy here is isentropic and this guy here is isentropic. So that means that my S, I can go again straightforward. So S from 1 minus S4, which is one of the things they're asked, has to be nil, and S3 minus S2 is also nil, because pretty much by definition, right? An isentropic process is precisely one that delta S is 0. So that is very easy for us to do. However, these two fellows here, so from 1 to 2 and from 3 to 4, we're going to have to calculate because there is a change in entropy there. So if I do S2 minus S1, because this is an ideal gas and we have constant CPs, then we can do CP natural log of final minus initial minus constant natural log of final minus initial. We have everything we need, so let's just solve this fella. 1.005 natural log of, it's an isotherm, so natural log of the same thing. What's the first one? 720. So just natural log of 1 minus 0.287, and the natural log of, remember that one is double the other, right? Remember that this is 7,000, this is 3,500, so this is just 1 over 2. That gives us what is it? 0.198933, and it keeps going, so let's approximate that to 0.02. Okay, what else? The other one, the change in entropy as we go from state 3 to state 4. Same thing, right? 0.005 natural log of the same thing, so it's 300, so natural log of 1 to 87, and then the natural log of the pressure ratio, and then our pressure is 326.9 and 163.4. So again, note that we're getting all the same values, right? So this is about negative 0.99021, so 0.2, probably 0.2. Forgot the units. Note that the units are going to be just the same units as R and CP, which is kilojoules per kilograms per Kelvin, and the same thing here, kilojoules per kilograms per Kelvin. Okay, so this is a fully reversible cycle. It's an ideal cycle, to a matter of fact, that's why it's a Carnot cycle. So if you complete the whole cycle, the whole thing is reversible, so that's why our increase in entropy and our decrease in entropy are exactly the same. Right, so this does it for the whole midterm. Hope this was useful. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. Talk soon.